Hello and welcome to Krackpots We Met Downstairs, brought to you by Krackpots Comedy Club in Massillon, Ohio, with special thanks to Funny Noise Bookings in Massillon, Ohio, and shout out to Dendamo's unique chocolates found at Krackpots Comedy Club in Massillon, Ohio. I am your host, Rebecca Marcoulin, and today I am with Michael Cheselka. Michael, hi, how you doing?
Hi. Pleasure to be here in Massillon, Ohio.
It is a great place to be. Tell me, Michael, you just got off stage. Tell me, how you feeling? Describe the vibe. What's going on?
We had a good crowd, and that's always fun. I tried half of my set was stuff that's brand new. To see that work and to see it fit comfortably in and out, segues, stuff like that. I'm really happy with what I was able to put together on stage. So I'm in the process of writing a whole new show, because when my open bar comedy special's out and anybody can go see that, I feel that if they're going to pay to come see me in a club, they better see a brand new show. So that's what I'm working on for the new year.
Nice, that's awesome. Tell us a little bit about your writing process for new material. Do you do a bullet point notes? Do you have something in you let it stew for a while before you perform it on stage? What's going on with that?
Rather than share some tips, it's more like confession. Every single time I sit down at my desk, cup of coffee, glass of wine, doesn't make any difference. I'm going to write now. And after about a half hour, 45 minutes of not getting anything done, get up from the desk, walk out of the office, get in the car, go do what I have to do with the rest of the life. And that's when my head starts going off like a popcorn machine. And so capturing this stuff is a matter of the stuff that keeps coming and revisiting and won't go away. I'm much better at running around with a butterfly net than I am sitting down with a pencil trying to get things done. I'd be a lot farther along if I was a better writer. So that's my New Year's resolution, is to a little more discipline.
That's a good resolution to have. But I've heard that a lot of people will get their best ideas when they're doing other stuff. Like a task that's not a very difficult task, but it lets the other part of your brain kind of wander a little bit more.
I think so. And then some of the stimuli, a lot of my comedy comes out of observations of real life. So I'll hear something on the news on the radio. I'll watch TV. I'll hear conversations with other people. I read a lot. So a lot of times out of books and stuff like that. So you never know where it's going to come from, and it's actually been an enjoyable way to live. I mean, I like being myself because I like having a lot of creative things to think about, and the problem is, like I said, I have to write it down eventually, because if I see a movie and then 6 months later I see the same movie, it's a new movie, because I don't remember stuff. So that's the balance. But I like being who I am. For that reason.
Nice. So when you're thinking about stuff, you said, 6 months later is a different movie. Have you ever had anything that you a joke that you jotted down, and then as you were working with it, it became a completely different joke? As you workshopped it, it became something totally different than that one note that you took at the beginning?
Yeah, I think that happens a lot. And I think that stuff you'll dismiss and reject at first then comes around and won't go away, and it comes back a little bit different form, and then catches on. That's a really good question. It's also a question I've had with other people in how their imaginations work. And if I can jump ahead, the biggest reason why I like it is when I see little kids play, have their imagination, talk about stuff. I think one of the interesting things about being a parent, because I've never had kids of my own, but they play, they're this, they're that, they're into this, they care about that. And then one day they'll look at their parents or think to themselves, I'm going to be a veterinarian. I mean, where does that come from? How do so everybody evolves into who they become. And that process for me is the most amazing thing about us and who we are. And if we were nicer to each other about that, I think we'd be a lot farther along, but that's a whole different show.
It's funny you mentioned kids wanting to be a veterinarian, because I wanted to be a vet when I was a kid. I'm not entirely sure what went wrong, because now I'm here.
Right.
But yeah, I wanted to be a vet when I was a kid.
But then you lived it. All of a sudden, boom, that was it. You had a dream and a goal, and and then all kinds of other things affected that, and we're both sitting here here trying to be creative, but I think that also is the other half of the answer to the question you first asked, or what we've been talking about is, I think artists are born, not made, and no matter what job you would have gone into or what other thing you would have done to pay bills, you wouldn't have been creatively as happy, because I don't think we have a choice. I mean, you have that point of view for a reason, and you'll probably spend the rest of your life trying to figure out what that reason is, and then that'll spur and inspire you to be who you're going to be. And I think that's, from the time I was really little, I watched President Kennedy's funeral on TV, and I wanted to be a lawyer. And then I got into comedy, and I did that for 25 years. And when I got married, it was like, okay, you can't be a good husband and on the road 48 weeks a year. So I got out of comedy and I went to law school, and I was a criminal defense attorney for all the years until criminal defense and the marriage both forced me back into comedy. But all the more reason for me to be able to comfortably sit here and look at you and I go, I think we're born, not made, and I think that you can't deny that. And if you're true to yourself, then that's how we end up being artists. Because I've always admired people who can pick up a guitar, sit down at a piano, and go somewhere. That talent, that ability is, I'm just very grateful that the weird stuff that goes through my head makes people laugh. Make sense?
I think so.
Okay.
So have you I'm trying to think of what I want to ask you. See, here's about the part of the interview where I try to ask you a question that you've never been asked before, but I kind of already did that, and I feel kind of bad doing it again. So for people who don't know, for the audience members who are just listening to this now, Michael was involved in all of the test interviews before we made this podcast live. So this is the third time I've sat him down for an interview. He has been such a good sport. You don't understand.
Well, with what I told you about not having a memory, I just hope that you're sitting there going, wow, he's given the same answer all 3 times. That would be the most I could hope for in that situation. But it's always been interesting talking to you because you ask interesting questions.
Oh, thank you.
No, I thank you. I mean, there were plenty of times on the road back in the day where it was almost a given that you'd end up on the morning zoo, the morning radio show in town. And it was kind of interesting because there were 2 kinds of personalities on the radio. One personality, he or she would be fun to work with and had somebody new to play with during the show. And you could tell they liked it, and it was always a good show. Then you also had, every once in a while, guys or gals that were just like, saw you as competition instead of a playmate, and wanted to make sure that everybody listening to their show realized that they were funnier than you. And those were fun in their own way too, because we'd end up talking about the other kind of DJ. The audience got a chance to laugh. But anyway, that was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, but that is what being interviewed used to be like all the time. And your perspective and your honesty and your curiosity is fun to deal with, because you've also, in 3 different interviews, made me think about stuff, either about myself or about the business or about the art form, that I haven't had opportunity to put into words or articulate. So thank you.
My heart. Michael, my heart. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
To hear that from you, who's been doing this for decades and has been interviewed many a time before, and to appreciate my style, which I feel like I'm still kind of working out a little bit, because we're still early in the podcast.
Okay. So
but to get this much praise.
Well, no. Well, then let me ask you a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just for a second. Haven't you felt in the short amount of time that you've been here overall that this is kind of the vibe that this place, Krackpots and Funny Noises, gives off? Because rather than just a business, I've found that this club is more like a little family, and everybody that's genuinely interested in their art and generally just a good person. Everybody is friendly. Everybody will answer any question. Everybody will talk to you about whatever you want to talk about. But that's kind of like why I'm here. And I'm going to go out on a limb and so far as to say it's probably why you may not have been how you first got here, but it's certainly why you stayed. Because that's the kind of atmosphere and environment we all find ourselves in here. And it is fun. It's fun for us as much as it is for the people that pay to come in.
Yeah, I mean, each club that you go to has its own, like, kind of personality and its own, like, vibes and stuff. And I did feel like my first time doing stand-up here, I was just kind of like, oh, this is a new place. Yay. Let's just see how this goes. But I think, yeah, I really like the pre-show meeting you guys have. The show starts at 7:30 where they're, like, for, like, the open mics, you know, you show up at 7:30. I liked having that. I think the location itself, how everything is structured. I like that there's, like, we have our meeting area in the back, we've got the bar, and then we've got the, like, main stage and the main dining room. So there's always like somewhere to go and like somewhere that you can be. Mm-hmm. Every comic I've talked to has been very, very nice and pretty supportive. I have gotten some criticisms, I guess, critiques from other comics, but you know, some of them here, some of them from other places. But everyone has been like, it's truly constructive criticism. Everything that they say, like whether it's positive or negative, is meant to be beneficial.
Right.
They're saying like, hey, this is, you know, this thing didn't work. Maybe try this instead. Or hey, rework these lines a little bit as you're working on your writing. And yeah, I think everyone's been super supportive. And it's one of those things that, like, I actually talked about this in an earlier interview. I was in a 48-hour film festival last weekend. I was editor on that team. We've kind of grown and we've created an atmosphere where, like, you know, me as the editor, my thing is like, give me the footage. Give me the footage. Right. In the editing bay with like my blankets like a gremlin, just, you know, getting to work. But we have everybody on that team is just as passionate about their roles as I am about mine. By the time my job is here, it's like, oh, everything looks so great. And it's like, sure, I have to cut all the pieces together, but all the pieces are so expertly put in place, which is kind of like click, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, I don't need to like force anything to happen or like make like some workaround of like what's already there. Like for this particular 48, it's a 7-minute limit, right? And then this video, the first cut was 7 minutes and 45 seconds. You know, we had to shave 45 seconds, which is a lot for a short film. Yeah. You know, you wouldn't know that. So I looked at the director, I'm like, well, the director's cut is done. We don't have to worry about that. Now let's make a cut that we can actually turn in. So we watched it, and then we talked back and forth like, hey, I think I can trim this down. Maybe we can cut rid of this. You know, maybe this walking sequence can be shortened. This one isn't necessary. And then we got it down to like, it was 6 minutes and 53 seconds or something like that. Okay. So yeah, I think... What were we talking about? Sorry, I got we talking about editing.
About the process.
The process. Basically. And I think everybody here has the same level of passion for what they're doing, and we all want to. Not only do we want to succeed, we want everyone else to succeed as well. Yeah. So when you have that community.
And I think that starts at the top. That's why I was attracted to Chris in the first place. And when he said that I could use this place as a place to work out and home away from home, I'm here a lot. It also inspires and fuels the obligation to always come up with new material. Because just like after the show tonight, they said they'd seen me before, and I mentioned new material, and they both, and so it works. That's why I'm here. The only thing about tonight that is one of those, after the show, when you ride home and you think, I wish I shoulda, woulda, coulda, I came up with a joke, and it's not really a joke, but I like what it is, yesterday. And, excuse me, I thought that was a sneeze.
It's all right.
Tried it on stage at open mic, and I said, okay, great, I can't wait to do it tomorrow in a show, and I didn't do it in the show.
I do that a lot, though. That happens. Yeah.
Were you here last night?
I think, I was here for the open mic.
Okay. Yeah. Did you hear what I closed with last night? Can I do it?
Watching you. Yeah, you can say it. Okay. Say whatever you want.
Ask not if your country is watching you. Ask why you were not watching your country. Now, I'm going to drive home and think about that, and hopefully there's 20 minutes behind that, because between the digital stuff, between the AI stuff, there's an awful lot of reasons why I think that that's going to be a very poignant statement again soon. So I better hurry up and finish the rest of the material. It's just the way I see it.
Yeah, I like that you ended on that. That was a very poignant close, in my opinion. That gave everybody something to chew on. And I'm sure they were chewing on that even after you walked off the stage. You know, we got the next person came up, the next person came up.
Art is supposed to move people off of ground zero. And there's a sign in the LA Comedy Club in Laughlin, Nevada. It's not a sign, it's a painting. And it's a painting to George Carlin, and there's a quotation, and it's not from his act. It's something he said in an interview. But he said, it's the comic's job to find out where the lines have been drawn and then cross them deliberately. And that's why I do this. Because like I said, asked weird questions from the time I was little. When I was in elementary, so I went to Catholic school. I asked the nuns if Jesus could walk on the water, was it hard for Mary to give him a bath?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a joke then.
Yeah, you were asking.
I was a little kid. I wanted to know. When I first heard the thing about getting out of the boat and walking across the water, it's like, wow, did he do that in the tub?
It's a good question.
It is when you're 5, when you're 7 or 8 years old. So yeah, that's a pretty interesting night.
Yeah.
But see, they all are, aren't they?
Yeah. Each one, every time we go up, you're going to get something new.
Right. Every show's different. Every interview is different.
Yeah.
I mean, and that was the one thing about working on the cruise ships that was a very, very interesting to me perspective. The cruise ships are almost like a play. They have a cast and they almost have a script. And what happens is people come on for a week and play the parts, because there's always the one person that thinks they're cooler than everybody else. There's always the people that want to impress you because they're wealthy. There's also the people that have never been anywhere outside 5 miles of their house and they walk around in awe. There's people that don't know how to, eat when there's more than one fork on the napkin, and all of that kind of stuff. And then they'll leave. And the next night, when the new people come on, they're playing the exact same role. I mean, it's like people come on and play the exact same role on the ship, because the ship every week has the same cast of characters. And that's without even talking about what goes on in the disco. As far as I'm the best dancer, I'm the best looking, I'm the best, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if you walk around the cruise ship and observe, because that's kind of what I do. I can go to a mall and watch people. It's better than a movie. I can get popcorn, sit in the mall for an hour and just watch people go by. But every show's different, every interview's different, and that's why you finish one, and the next thing you're thinking about is your next one.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
I'm
as somebody who's been doing interviews,
right?
And I'm like, I wrapped up the last one. I was like, oh, I wonder who's gonna talk to me next. Maybe I'll ask Michael. He's talked to me before. Maybe he'll do it again.
I'm glad you asked. The thought that went through my mind after you said that you had interviewed Ben was like, oh wow, I hope I didn't blow my chance on the practice.
Oh no!
So that worked out fine. That's why I'm happy to be here.
I was thinking about interviewing you for like an episode because you were so helpful with the test interviews, trying to get this off the ground in the first place. I'm like, we gotta ask him again. He'll do it one more time.
Oh, yeah.
Once more with feeling.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So working on the cruise ships, were you performing on cruise ships?
Yeah, I was.
Okay. So how do cruise ships work? Is it everybody's in the one cruise, or is it one ship doing multiple cruises? How does that work?
Well, for an entertainer, it's different. You sign on to a ship, and this is the way it was 30 years ago. You'd sign on to a ship for a month, or for 2 months, or for 3 months. And then you would stay with that ship and do its itinerary. So if you were doing the Western Caribbean, fine. Then you went to the same islands. Doing the Eastern Caribbean, you went to the same islands. You could do a contract with a ship that was just doing Key West, and those were like 4-day cruises and a 3-day cruise, so that there were 7 days. But the other ones were 7-day cruises. So they had their itinerary, and then every week the people disembark at 8 in the morning. By 5 o'clock, the ship was like completely cleaned, sanitized, restocked, and you'd sail away at 8 o'clock at night. So the cruise ship never stopped. And that's what I mean about different people come on. And the biggest observation or difference or thing that I can share is, like, even though I only did 2 shows a week, the name and the picture was all over the ship, outside the showroom and stuff like that. So everybody knew, oh, there's the comedian, even if I hadn't been on stage yet. But when you get on board, part of the orientation with the cruise ship company is to remind all the entertainers, you're an ambassador of the cruise ship line. So every time you encounter a passenger, or even make eye contact with a passenger on deck, in an elevator, going up the stairs, at dinner, you were expected to be polite. Not just make eye contact, not just smile, but have something to say. How's your day been? Are you excited about tomorrow? What'd you think of the last port we were in? But you talk to every single person you saw. Then after 3 months of doing that, you walk off the ship and go into Giant Eagle, and every single person in that store, you walk up to, hi, how are you? Hi. Within 5 minutes, security said, okay, you've spent enough time here.
Oh, no.
Because we don't talk to each other. For the most part, the passengers, after being on a cruise, get used to, because everybody wants to talk to them, makes them feel special, and they are. And the voyage is different, and it is special. But then they go back home, and we don't learn anything from that. It's just like the weirdest thing to me. We're all supposed to get together and fix things, and we don't even know how to say hi to each other. That's always been weird to me, too. That this many people walk by you every day, and you don't talk to any of them.
Has that always been a thing, or do you think that's more of a generational thing?
I think it's always been that way.
Okay.
If anything else, if it was generational, cell phones made it worse.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Because now you don't even make eye contact.
Yeah, that's what I was asking, because I've heard that like millennials and Gen Z and all that, statistically they have a harder time with one-on-one interactions, or like just, IRL interactions.
Right.
Because everything is online, and there are kids who are, the term they use is chronically online, where they just everything is on the website.
Absolutely. So
I'm interesting, as somebody who was around before the internet, I was wondering if you notice, has it gotten better or worse, or are people your age a little more sociable than the younger people, or are younger people more sociable? Maybe there is something that we're missing.
I'll let you decide. More than 50% of boys between 17 and 27 have never asked a girl out in person. Everything's online. Everything's there. People don't date. People don't socialize. People don't make friends. They hook up. And the thing with what's coming, I think, with social media is it's going to be interesting, because either parenting has nothing to do with the child that emerges from the house when they're old enough to leave, or people just abdicated the role of parenting, because you shouldn't be that alone. You shouldn't be that baffled by the rest of the world around you and people and so on and so forth if you had a family. But if you don't sit down to dinner, and if you don't have time in the living room where all you do is hang out and talk, because that's what families do, if social media ruins all of that, there's a lot of stuff out there to read about, the physiological changes that happen with staring at a screen. And then I just, every time I sit there and look at people looking at pictures of a pizza they had 3 years ago and wondering, how did this get in my phone, and don't even remember that they took it. I'll never run out of material. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I'll never run out of material. So we'll see.
Dang. I feel like
I'm just being honest.
I know, it's good to be honest.
You are touching some good nerves.
It's good to be honest. Yeah, you've given me a lot to think about, Michael.
Oh, I'll give you one more, because it's been on my mind all day.
Go ahead, shoot.
I saw a blurb, an ad, a teaser, a background story on a story. But Sunday night at 8 o'clock on CNN, there is a program I can't miss. I'm either going to tape it, or I'm going to sit in front of it with a cup of coffee, or based on what I'm going to tell you, probably a glass of wine. But they have said that not just here, but around the world, that, like you said, Gen Z and millennials don't trust therapists, don't want counselors, and they don't want medicine or medication. So what they're doing with their perceived mental situation is they're paying and going to exorcists. Now, if everybody listening could see the way you went with your face.
Yeah.
What? That's the first thing I did. But then when I heard the statistics about how, and they're doing them in not hotel rooms, but rooms in a hotel that you can like rent and stuff like that. And it's not always religious. There are people now that anytime there's money to be made and people sniff around, all of a sudden there's going to be a crowd. But the whole concept of please tell me I'm not the only one that thinks that's weird.
I, as somebody who has gone to therapy, been in and out of therapy, and recently got back into therapy, that's weird.
I've been through grief counseling. I went through counseling to try to save my marriage that was doomed from day one.
I've never heard.
I went to Catholic school and I saw the movie when I was little, and it's like, wow. But to think, I don't know. Like I said, I'm never going to run out of material.
I've never heard of people going to. Well, I mean, I've never heard of that.
Well, I'm telling you something. You're going to be around this place. next week and the week after, and I know Thanksgiving. Well, yeah, I'll be here Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And I'm going to see this show the day after tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I don't care if it's recorded or not. I'm going to sit and talk to you about it because I can't watch this damn thing and keep it to myself. So I'm going to want to share with somebody like you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I might not make it to the Wednesday open mic.
All right, then
because
as soon as we
stuff.
finish, I want your phone number.
Okay.
Because I'll call you and ask you about it.
Do you want to have... I can give you another episode after the holidays. Take some notes. We'll come back. We'll reconvene. You'll get 2 episodes.
That's a deal.
Yes. Heck yeah. Let's shake on it. Shake on it. You can't see it because it's audio, but we're shaking on it. And that about wraps up this episode of Krackpots We Met Downstairs. Michael, do you have anything you want to plug? Anything you want to promote? Do so now.
I want to say thank you to you. And I think we mentioned at the beginning, every time something great happens in this club, I'm just thank God that it found me and I found it and so on and so forth. And if you're listening to this podcast and you have not been to this club to see a show, treat yourself. Just come out and have a good time. And don't be shy. Say hi to both Rebecca or me. And we'll go from there.
Heck yeah. You know what? Definitely come to a show, and you can check out our schedule at crackpotscomedyclub.com. Take a look at that, see what shows strike your fancy. If you come in for a Friday or Saturday show, tell them Rebecca sent you, and you'll get $5 off your check. Money, yay, saving money. Something else that I want to mention, part of this outro is we are actually filming in an old radio station right above Krackpots Comedy Club. We're in our own little cubicle right now, but we've got a couple of other cubicles that are currently empty. So if you guys are want to film your own podcast, or you have something you want to film, or you need a place to go, I don't know, you could potentially rent one out for a few hours. You could reach out to funnynoisebookings@gmail.com. You can get more info on that there. When you come to Krackpots, check out Dinda Mo's Unique Chocolates. She's got her own little kiosk right near the front of the club. You'll find it. You'll know where it's at. And order the Pigs in Mud. It's a little brownie shaped like a piggy, and it's coated in chocolate, and then there's chocolate syrup on top of it. It's so good, you guys. Order it. You can only get it at Krackpots, so come check it out. Order it. It's delicious. I promise. I am your host, Rebecca Mercoulin. Thank you again, Michael, for coming. This has been Krackpots We Met Downstairs. That's our outro. That's it. Bye.
Bye.